verbal image of life, and we are everyday people. Now we're talking about the recent death of Cuban ex-president, but always was in control, Fidel Castro. And the reason why I'm discussing this subject this morning is because listening to Marco Rubio speak about Fidel Castro and his government is the same sentiments and the same thing that was said by black people towards the American government on the harsh treatment of its citizens and police brutality. Malcolm X met with Castro. Cuba has a long history of African culture, but in a sense to where they share that culture, and it's no, there's no. Now there will be racism, but there's no out and out police brutality against indigenous people or black people in Cuba. Let's put it like that. Fidel Castro spoke out against the way blacks were treated during the civil rights era. He even gave a safe place to some who fled America and went to Cuba, because he seen the struggle, and Fidel wanted to help those who were in need, or that's why they couldn't understand why the Pope spoke highly of him, or because he was a freedom fighter fighting against injustice. Now you could turn it any way you want to turn it, but the fact still remains. He wasn't silent during the civil rights struggles as other countries was. He didn't turn a blind eye, because there was injustice, and in order for man to survive or prevail or accomplish anything that he can dream of or think of, then you're going to need what is called justice. Justice allows you to think. How can you think and create something beneficial for yourself and your family if you under constant attack? It's impossible. All this ties together within this weekend. You got the black Cuban Nismo still around. Was this man? Well, started back in the 1920s with the African culture and the African arts, and it spread it, and it gave Cuba an identity with the music, the salsa, with the food. All it's all intertwined, mixed in. So black people can go to Cuba and feel at home. We know what that's about. Then you want to go to Black Lives Matter. See, the reason why Black Lives Matter, and we're tying this into Cuba, is because in the 1960s, majority of the Cuban population is what they call uneducated. But Castro made sure that the people of Cuba was able to read and write. Now, what comes from when you're able to read and write? Because you got to remember, the Europeans who were over Cuban control was the same Europeans that had black people in control, used the same method. Blacks wasn't able to read or write. In black Cuba, they wasn't able to read or write. So here comes Castro. He's saying, wait a minute, we're going to teach our citizens how to read and write, because he knows the importance of an education. He didn't dumb down education. He made it to where the people of Cuba are some of the greatest scientists and some of the greatest detectives on the planet. So you have to give credit where credit is due. And it's the same scenario. Now the Cubans in America, majority of them, they celebrated Castro's death. They didn't like Castro. It's the same thing. You got blacks in America who is what they call Toms, but really they are black skin but white mind. Then you got blacks who are black skin, and I'm not talking about the shade of blackness. I mean black, regardless of whatever your shade is, with a black mind of saying that I will be free, I will control my own destiny, and I see all men as equal. I don't put one man above me than the next man. So that means that the study of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, that means that we have to learn how to be black. What is being black? What is black? What are the characteristics, or let's say, what are the attributes or morality or knowledge, or how do black people think? Because we lost that science through slavery. They wasn't teaching in America during slavery. They wasn't teaching black people their ancestral teachings that was passed on down from generations to generations. Those teachings were cut off, and they created a new black man that was speaking English, a new black man that forgot, or his culture was taken away from him, a new black man who was under a new religion, a new black man who was eating new foods. I mean, the black man had a total makeover. And in some cases, a makeover is good, but it wasn't good to us because that total makeover produced a better slave. And it produced a situation to where today you have blacks trying to fight to get out from under that new made black man that was made by their oppressor. Today we trying to figure out what was the science, what was the knowledge, what was the mathematics, what was the mind that we had prior or pre-slavery. And so the best account to that is the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, because he was answering them questions. Since we had amnesia, we've been hit in the head. So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad came along and said, the black man is the original man, the maker, the owner, the cream of the planet Earth, God of the universe. Oh, okay, that's who the black man is, because the identity was totally stripped from us. He started teaching who the black man is, because you have to be yourself. You have to know yourself. If you don't know yourself, then you do other than self. And who are you? Then you become something like a zombie. You're walking around with someone else's program within you, and within that program, everything in that program is not beneficial to you or your family. Then you have to study, well, why did they, what was the purpose of reducing the black man to damn near zero in order for them to accomplish their goal of slavery? And some would say, well, they had to reduce black people down to nothing in order to rule over them, to use them as a tool for the benefit of the slave master and his children and his family, so that they can live a better life on earth with riches at the hands of another man, or at the labor and sweat of another man. Now, is that justice? You see Black Lives Matter saying justice from the police, who blacks pay taxes, because when the police pull young brothers over, pull us over, They don't ask us, are we degreed? What college did you attend? What area of town do you live in? How much money do you got in your bank? Who did you vote for? You know, we get none of that. It's just the color of skin. They see black and they attack. In Carolina, again, 60-year-old white man shoots a 15-year-old black male. Strong, beautiful brother. Could have made a good husband to some woman as he got older. A good scholar. A good son to his mother. The brother seemed intelligent. He seemed smart just by looking at the globe. And you take him out due to a altercation, a run-in at a store. And then you say you removing the trash from the streets. I mean, you looking at this white man, calling this black man trash, 15-year-old, when the white man looks like trash himself. I'm trying to look through the eyes of the 60-year-old white male who shoots a young 15-year-old black male twice, kills him, and then said he's removing trash from the streets or from the community. Now, obviously, this 60-year-old white man haven't looked upon himself in the mirror to even call someone else trash. That's apparent. But what is feeding into the narrative that the young black male is dangerous, and they seem as though they have to take him out? See, a lot of white people don't go into a lot of black communities, and the only interaction that they have with black people is through the television, especially in some of these small rural towns. So what they see on TV, they believe that all black men, pants are sagging, or like they show on television, packing guns, belonging gangs, and got tattoos all over their face, and nothing wrong with that. But I'm just giving you a visual of what's portrayed on the television, or I'm giving you a visual of what's perpetrated against black people through media to create a negative mindset towards black males and black people in general. On these television shows, they want to create a narrative to scare white people. Jerry Heller said it in Straight Outta Compton, scare the hell out of them. Because he knows, white people know that when white folks are afraid and backed into a corner, they gonna come out shooting black. They not gonna think rational and be diplomatic and assess the situation. And so the justice system awards their fear and saying that they have a right to be afraid because the black man is portrayed as this beast or this animal or this monster that's coming to get white people, like they portrayed in the original Birth of a Nation when they painted a white man black to make him appear to be black, but he wasn't black, and had him acting like he was just crazed over white women and whatnot, and you know, the hunt was on. They created that whole narrative, and some people fell into that narrative, and now the Justice Department has to defend a narrative that was created by Hollywood for the TV screen. And then they'll come out and say, well, we're living in reality. You living in a false sense of reality. It's not reality at all. And so that breeds, or that springs up groups in today's time such as Black Lives Matter, which will go into Chicago on Black Friday and block the patrons from shopping in Chicago on Black Friday. Why? Black Friday goes back into slavery. When you were in the black, that means you had slaves, you had money. You were making money. But what they're saying is, how can you make money off the narrative of black oppression and call it Black Friday, where there's no justice from the justice system, and we had a black president and a black attorney general, Loretta Lynch? What's going on? People waking up today. Reason why people waking up today is because a lot of people, they listening to the minister. Minister Farrakhan is giving truth, and it's opening up the people's eyes to where they can judge not out of their emotions or out of fear, but mathematically. You do this plus this, you get this. Starting to understand that. So from Black Friday to the Black Lives Matter protest to now Aretha Franklin singing the national anthem. I mean, she Negro spiritual, the national anthem. Now, Colin Kaepernick took a knee for the injustice that's being perpetrated against black males in American society. And the data is there to prove this now. We can get into the mindset of the white officers, meaning coming from small little rural towns. You place them in an all-black community. They shoot out of fear. Because of what they believe is portrayed by TV media, that we all are monsters in the sense that we coming to kill everybody. That's all made up, but they believe that to be true, and no one is corralling that emotion. You know, they sent them through diversity training, but hell, what the hell is good as diversity training if the captain, if the person in charge is racist themselves? We know racism exists in America. So, anyway, Aretha Franklin. Colin Kaepernick on the one side. Colin Kaepernick, he takes a knee, and people from all over, from sports and everywhere, took a knee to protest injustice. Now here come Aretha Franklin. Whose side are you going to be on? You going to stand with Colin Kaepernick? Are you going to sing the song on the knee? Or are you going to give a speech at the end of singing the national anthem saying that injustice and the killing of black men has to be stopped? Of course it was an epidemic. That's why you having some now finally are being charged with the killing of unarmed black men or armed black men with a license to carry, shows the license, still get shot. That's ridiculous. So it's a psychological thing that's going on between police officers, black men, and the media. We'll get into that later, at a later time. But for the most part, now Aretha do a 4-minute and some second rendition, the national anthem, and I mean, put out her heart and soul. You know, I started looking around like they were coming to get us. I'm rocking back and forth. You know, you know, where's she trying to take us to? If something is, if they feel something is out of line, then they got to go tap some people, black people that they have under control, and tell them you get the you corral them back together. You round them back up. And I'm using rounding back up in correlations with the Willie Lynch letters. You round your people back up and you get them behave. Put one of these niggas, sing this national anthem as you would sing one of them Negro spirituals. We need some tears and some eyes, and you hum that thing, and you put the vibration, the musical spell on them. Calm them back down. We have to show the rest of the world that we have our slaves in check. So Aretha, and I could be wrong, but from my vantage point, Aretha, you get out there and you make it as soulful as possible. That way, we can take the attention off of what Colin Kaepernick is doing by taking a knee. Because by him taking a knee, he's gathering a lot of people on his side. And by her singing that national anthem, she's getting a lot of the old civil rights, the old slave, she's getting all the Negroes on her side. That sympathize or that was swayed by the 4 minute and some rendition of the national anthem given by one Miss Aretha Franklin, who I like Aretha's music. I'm just saying, when you listen to the time and what must be done, then the time and what must be done. That wasn't what must have been done at this time when you are protesting or marching for justice and equal treatment, especially in 2016. You don't need pastors and singers and some civil rights leaders to come out to try to put you back to sleep. You want to stay woke so you can. It's like studying for a test or taking a test. You got to stay woke so you can study. You got to stay woke while you're taking the test so you can go back in your mind and pull out those answers that you studied and bring them forth. So you don't want nobody standing over you while you trying to pay attention to a serious situation and they trying to sing you a lullaby. You gonna tell them, get out the room, I need to concentrate right now. It's like, stop pestering me or stop bothering me, trying to put me back to sleep. I don't want to go to sleep right now. I got things I got to think on. We got problems that needs to be solved. You got black folks still being shot down in the streets by a system where they pay taxes into. We got to fix these problems. And then now, real quickly on Trump, and we out. And we out of here. For those of you who don't know, you listen to Verbal Pick Radio. I'm your host, Vince Cole Muhammad, a.k.a. Cole Black. You got to give a shout out to my partner, Low Key, the Coon Docs, my boy, Luscious Ice. We getting ready to do a little documentary titled The Interview, sponsored by Graphic Graphics. It's in its beginning stages, so y'all stay tuned. I do a lot of offline recordings, so if you want to check out some of those, just go to Verbal Pick Radio, or you can search also Everyday People, because we are everyday people. Now back to Donald Trump. He's tapping Sessions, and I believe it's for Secretary of State. But he wants to walk back the progress that was made on marijuana being legalized in over 28 states. He failed to realize that by his age, being an elderly white male who his day of when he saw America being great, that day, white people don't even want to go back to that time when all the racial division was and marijuana was not legal, because some people do use it as a medicinal purpose. So you're talking about walking back something that the people agreed upon, that the people voted on. Do you know what kind of turmoil that would cause within this country? I mean, just by him making those statements alone, you got to sometimes wondering what are you thinking about, man? You can't walk back something that the people voted into law that's giving them a benefit, because it will be seen as a dictatorship. And American people, especially white America, they not used to living under a dictatorship. Now, black people lived under a dictatorship during slavery, and that's why we did the post-traumatic slave disorder with Jasmine Blue. We did that on the strength of how that disorder or that mindset can be passed down through your DNA and through your genetics through generations. So we know what it's like to be under the rule of a dictator, okay. But we saying white America will not stand for dictatorship, walking back something that they unanimously voted upon. It's not happening. Now, Trump and Apple. Donald Trump wants Apple to set up a location in the back to America, because where they at now, the labor is cheap, but yet they sell the phones back to America. You know how much the Apple 6, Apple 7 phone was. But, it might take them $7 to $10 to make. Apple sells it back to the American people for $650, $700. Trump said, no, I'm going to give them a incentive to move back to the America. And this is my personal opinion. I believe that Apple will say no, and that then a new phone will be created right here in America with a lower price, and Apple shares a fall if they don't, because from what they say about Trump as being a bully and how he does business, he'll give you the opportunity. You don't want to take it, then he'll create the product or have it created right here, and then turn around and say, hey, this is what I offered you. You turn it down. So we had no other choice. They were killing us. We had to do it. You know how the game goes. I mean, but whatever. But back to Fidel Castro. As far as when blacks were struggling within America, he extended a hand. So you're not going to find too many blacks in America that would speak ill of Castro. I'm pretty sure they always got a file of detractors or a file of blacks that they can go grab and have speak, in the manner or create the narrative that they want to give out to the public. You always have those. So, but we saying for the most part, Fidel Castro was loved and respected in Black America. You know, because he showed kindness and extended a hand in a brutal time. You know, where was the Pope? Where was other European countries? Where was they? You know, who spoke up at the time? Who said that this was injustice? This was insanity. This shouldn't even be going on. This is Verbal Pick Radio. That concludes this portion of our program. I'm your host, Vince Cole Muhammad, a.k.a. Cole Black. You can check out the book that I've written called Consequence by Vince Cole Muhammad, or you can go to cdbaby.com/COLBLAC and grab you a tune. And we out.